But Yetta, what about the HST on new home construction?
It can bite you. That's a harsh reality.
Moving forward with the Dekker Team. Moving forward together with the Dekker Team.
So we're excited that for over 30 years, we've been able to come alongside you, not only selling, buying, and investing in real estate, including new construction, over 3,117 times, but coming alongside you to build your fund, build your faith, build your finances, and even strengthen, heal, and flourish inside of your relationship. And so what we're going to discover this time is, what can you do? What can I do about HST to make sure I am protected and not surprised? I don't have a rude awakening at closing, because there's lots of those stories.
Yeah, and 13% is a big pill to swallow, right?
Even if you're getting a partial rebate.
Yeah.
Right? And what if you aren't getting any rebate?
Right. And so what we generally do and make sure is that the HST is included in the purchase price, which is great. So what happens is they back it out. And then as far as when the price goes on your the title, like when it transfers, it shows what price it was paid at. You'll see there's a weird number, and it's because they backed the HST out. Now, that doesn't mean you didn't pay the higher price, because you do. Now, some listings and some builders are plus HST. So that's something you want to watch your contract very, very closely. And if they do include HST, typically the rebate, which can be around $24,000, it can be less, it can be about that, depends on the purchase price and a whole bunch of factors. Generally, that you sign a certificate that you're assigning it back to the builder. When the HST is included, the rebate is being assigned back to the builder.
Right, because you never paid the $24,000 or whatever the number is, right? So sometimes people will be confused because they're thinking, why am I giving them the rebate? Well, because it was never included in the price in the first place.
No, they calculated their sale price, including HST, knowing they were getting that rebate back.
Yeah, minus the rebate,
whatever
basically.
amount it would be. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Now the difference happens when you go, yeah, but Ken, I'm thinking of not owner occupying, because that rebate to builder can only happen if you sign off that you are going to occupy
or someone's going to occupy.
No, the buyer has to occupy for that rebate for the builder. And you're in jeopardy if you fib, lie, fraud, whatever word you want to call it.
Well, I think fraud's right.
Okay.
Because it's fraudulent activity.
If you have no intention of moving in and you plan on putting a tenant in, then you're buying as an investment, not as an owner occupied. And even if you say, well, I'm buying it owner occupied and I'm just going to move in it temporarily, like I'm going to live in it in the summer, and then in the winter I live somewhere else or whatever, that's okay, because it's still owner occupied. But if you plan on renting it, now it's an investment. And the builder is not eligible for the rebate. But the good news is you are eligible for the rebate.
So slow that down a little bit. Right. So the builder you can't do it on closing because the builder is not eligible for the rebate when it is not an owner-occupied
sale,
new build.
Yep.
Correct?
Right. Now, if you pay the HST, now this is where it gets a little tricky, is because sometimes builders will go, oh, well, if it's not owner-occupied, I want the 13% on top of my purchase price, which really isn't fair, because they weren't going to get that anyways. They were only getting the rebate. So technically, their price should increase the amount of the rebate. And that's what I would attempt to negotiate with any builder. You got to be upfront with them when you're negotiating, because most of the salespeople don't understand this. They don't get it. They're not involved in the HST part of the equation. And so you want to make sure that you're getting that contract written correctly at the very beginning, the purchase price accurate with the HST on top of whatever amount that was. We like to add the net HST. So if it goes up, say, $24,000, that's what's happening. But then when you're talking down payment, it's a little bit more, because on an investment, 20% on a $700,000 is going to be $140,000, right? Well, if you
down payment.
If you are putting 20% down, but now your purchase price is say $724,000, then your down payment's got to be $144,800. But the beauty is you're going to get roughly $24,000 back. You need to talk to a tax specialist to know exactly how much you're going to get back. And then that means now after you get your rebate, you actually only have $120,000 in as a down payment, roughly $120,800, compared to $140,000 you would originally. So although at first it sounds, I got to put more on the mortgage, you're actually able to leverage slightly better because you're getting the rebate in cash later.
Right. Provided you qualify for the rebate, which you're going to need to put someone in the home, has to now be occupied.
A 1-year lease.
Right? A 1-year lease, you apply for the rebate. It just can't be done in advance. And I know this is very technical, what we just attempted to do on radio and even on a YouTube without pictures and pie graphs and stuff. It was a lot to take in when
the importance of your guide and your team, right? Because if you don't have a great tax accountant that understands HST on new construction, that understands the real estate investment game, if you don't have a realtor that understands it, it can get very complex very, very quickly and can get ugly if you make the wrong decisions.
Absolutely. And I know in the last segment we were talking about somebody that we referred to as our client, and the reality is he came to us as a client now wanting to sell, but we were not involved in the purchase. So we're having all these conversations about the devalue of the property and the impact on him now that he wants to sell.
Well, because things were going great. People go, I don't need a realtor. I'm just going to run to the builder. I'm going to stand in line. I'm going to buy a place and I'm going to hit the jackpot when it sells. But nobody came to us and said, hey, what are the risks? What are the alternatives? What's happening here? What could happen in the future? So they see dollar signs. And, if that was you, that's fine. We'll still counsel after the fact to try and help you out of a situation because we have hearts.
Well, and that's why we keep referring to each of these people as our clients, because they become our client as a result of the hardship. But we were not involved, and we weren't involved in the stories that we've been sharing.
No, but even
prior to.
And it's funny, even though they have maybe decided not to sell or whatever, we still call them a client because we care for people at that level when they're asking for our advice. So clarity calls are really great. If you want a clarity call, 15 minutes, just give us a call, 613-860-4663. Typically leave a message. We get that message on our email. We'll call you back. And we want to make sure that we get connected to support you.
Even before you go see a new build, before you do anything.
Well, it's so important because if you go into the new home sales site and register, if you go online and register, if you send an email to the builder, at that point, you're registered with them and we can't help you negotiate, support you,
counsel you,
and get paid by the builder. In that case, if you want us to do it, then you got to pay us separately to do it.
Right. And the builder doesn't want us involved. It's very difficult.
They really don't.
At that point, after the fact. It's even less about the money, more about that they don't want us there if we were not part of the transaction and the introduction from the beginning.
Right. So once again, if you're thinking about new construction, just even pondering it, call us first, 613-860-4663, and we'll just have a brief conversation with you. And we're grateful that you joined us on Life's Inside Track, because when we all move forward together, we've got this.
Moving forward with the Dekker Team. Moving forward